Shalom, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah for the brothers, Yahweh Shema Elatah Hashem Yahushua for the sisters. This is the Thursday night scripture breakdown class. I'm Police Officer 1000, Shadow Rock, and I'm going to be going over the fate of America and what that means to blacks and Hispanics. Okay, let me get to First Maccabees chapter 14 and verse 9.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 14, verse 9. The ancient men sat all in the streets, communing together of good things.
Okay, so this is a time in our captivity, I believe, that we have sat on the streets. Our older men sat on the streets commuting. You said good things?
Commuting good things.
Commuting good things, speaking good things to each other. As you see in the black community and the Hispanic community, most of the seniors of these two tribes of black and Hispanics, they basically talk good things when they get out in public and be amongst each other in the public, in the streets, commuting to each other. You see, even in the parks, you see them playing dominoes and chess, cards, and just basically talking. Read.
And the young men put on glorious and warlike apparel.
Now, this is the young men. What are the young men doing? The young men are basically putting on warlike apparel. That means they're dressing with war, preparing themselves for war, having the garments and, girdles. Christ wore a girdle around his waist. And that girdle is a symbol, is actually so that if someone would try to thrust him through with a knife, they couldn't go past the girdle to harm him. It's in the military, it's called a war belt. When I was in the military, that's what we wore. We wore what's called a war belt. We would have our canteens in the back of it, have an ammo pouch in the front. We would have a poncho in the middle of those canteens, and we would wear that along with carrying our 16s or whatever. You see it on TV when you watch war movies. But young men dressed in with the girdles. Back then, they didn't have like that from the military. They had the girdle, like Christ had a golden girdle, right? As in written in the book of Revelation. Okay. Let's go to Revelation 13 and 1. Give me Revelation 13 and 1. We're going to see how Christ dressed. Okay. Very important that if you want to study the Bible and read if you want to study the Bible and read, you need to understand what that is.
Got it, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
That's Revelation 13 and 1.
Revelation 13 and 1, sir.
Okay. Let me see. Give me a second here. Rather than going through these so long that we have to double check. Let me go down to verse 9.
Verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Revelation 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Okay, so that's not the one I'm trying to get. Let's go back. Use that 1 and 13.
13 and 1.
Okay, let's go to 1 and 13.
1 and 13.
Let's go to 1 and 13. I probably had it mixed up with 1 and 13, of course. Yeah, there it is.
Right.
Revelation 1 and 13. Read.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot.
Okay, hold on. Now, the Revelation, there was 7 candlesticks. The 7 candlesticks, what does that represent? Do you know? Go ahead.
Monica?
Nah. The 7 candlesticks They represent the 7 churches. You know, it's Philadelphia Area Church, Thyatira, Pergamus, and the different churches like that. Laodicean, that's the 7 churches. Okay, so continue.
One like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
So Christ was girt about the paps. He was tied around the paps. Means what? On your body. It means the waist. So he had a tying around the waist of a golden girdle, right? So this is how Christ actually dressed. That's how he dressed, in a garment. So when you see ISUPK on the holy days, when we wear our garments, you're going to see that we have girt about our paps a girdle. It may not be golden. It could be, you know, but we'll have different color girdles, different color war belts. So these are what the young men were wearing to prepare themselves for war. Because throughout the Bible, there were incidents of war, you know, way back, even during Abraham's time, you know, way back. It was always a war. It was always a battle. It was evil upon the earth. Understand? Men were greedy. Men were trying to take territory over. You know, men were, you know, just being unrighteous. Okay. And so Israel, being righteous, had to defend. See, we follow a God that's a man of war. Let's go to Revelation 15. Let's go to Exodus 15:3.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 3. The Lord is a man of war.
The Lord is what?
A man of war.
He is what?
A man of war.
No, he want to wear a good Christian T.D. Jakes suit. He's a what?
A man of war.
He want to dress like Creflo Dollar. No, he can't be. He's a what?
A man of war.
He's a man of war. The Most High God, Yahweh in the Hebrew, is a man of war. War. So when you come out of those churches and they tell you that God is all love, they say, what is God? God is love. What is God?
A man of war.
A man of war. That's who God is. Okay? So that's why you should never believe what the Christians say when they say they know God. They do not know him.
That's right.
Understand? They do not know him. First, they don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. They sit up, eat them pork chops. They sit up and go to Easter. Matter of fact, they have Easter in the churches, don't they? The Easter in the churches. They celebrate Thanksgiving. All those things. They go and do Mother's Day and Father's Day. They go do Valentine's Day. We have Father's Day already, right? We didn't have it, but the world had it. They celebrate Father's Day, observe Father's Day and Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Easter, all these things that the Lord said not to do. So they are not following law, statutes, and commandments. So a Christian is no way can tell you that he knows God. He cannot tell you that. He does not follow the Most High. The Most High, let's give me Deuteronomy 14:5. I know I'm going a little bit off the topic, but the Most High is a man of war. The topic is war. But I'm gonna show you why we wear these girdles and we have to defend against the unrighteous, because the unrighteous is sitting in your Christian church. The unrighteous is teaching in a Muslim mosque. The unrighteous is teaching in the Catholic Church. You understand? To our people who we need to pull out as ISUPK's responsibility to pull them out of these churches and to teach them the law, statutes, and commandments to come back to their laws and cultures. Come back. In other words, come back to God. Read.
You said 14:5, sir?
Where we at?
Deuteronomy 14 and
4 and 5.
4.
Salaki. 4 and 5. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye shall do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Okay. So the Lord said he taught us laws and statutes. Read that again.
Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me.
Okay, the Most High has laws and statutes. This is how you know the Christian church is not doing what they're supposed to be doing and not following the laws, because they are celebrating, observing these holidays. They're not the young man right here. Didn't you say Hanukkah?
Yeah.
Right, Hanukkah. When was the last time you heard Hanukkah being observed in the Christian church? When the last time you heard Hanukkah be observed in the Catholic Church? I'll wait. I don't think so. Okay. So the Lord has taught us laws and statutes. Now let's get back onto the topic of war. Christ wore a girdle, girt about the paps, and he had a golden girdle. Understand? And he was dressed like he was supposed to be going off to war. Because when Christ come back, he's coming back to earth with a sword. He's doing his Father's will. Christ does his Father's will. Yahushua in the Hebrew. He does his Father's will.
That's right.
So when he does his Father's will, his Father, as we just read in Exodus 15:3, God is a man of war. Christ is not coming back to kiss you. Christ is not your husband. For all you women out there, Christ ain't your husband. You need to go find your real husband, and you need to find one up in here in ISUPK, because this is where you'll find a righteous man, a man that follows the law, statutes, and commandments, a man that fears God, a man that's ready to go to war for his people, ready to go to war for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Understand? That's who he's ready to go to war for. Understand that will go to protect you. So Christ and the Most High, they're not your husbands. They are your God and your King. Your King is Christ, and the Most High is your God. Supposed to be. I don't know, but you need to find that, because we're getting very close to the end times. We're getting very close to war. All these things is coming up. All these wars you're hearing about, and you need to observe this. Okay, so let's go to where we at. Where we just get off at?
Revelations.
Oh, we did Revelations 1 and 13. Okay, so this is the thing about this is about Christ. So let's go back to Maccabees 14 and 9, because we were speaking of the young men while the old men were out speaking. Those of you who were just tuning in, for the old men who were speaking in the streets. The old Israelites were speaking in the streets with great and good communication with each other, just like you see in the parks. When you walk in any hood, any ghetto, any reservation, you see the older men out there speaking with each other, playing cards, playing dominoes, playing chess, and just talking. But when you see the young men are dressed for war. When you come into this school, you will see men of war. You observe anything about the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under the commanding General Yohana, out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. That's where our main school and headquarters is. This is who we represent. This is what this class is all about. You understand? We dress for war. We wear the garment like Christ wore. He was girded about the paps, right? So continue. The young men
Put on glorious and warlike apparel.
Say it again.
The young men put on glorious and warlike apparel.
Apparel means clothes. All right. I see this in the chat. I see Sister Asa. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shemala Thabah Shem Yahushua. Okay. So warlike apparel. This is what the men wore. Okay. Continues. Any more on that?
No, go to verse 10, sir.
Yeah. Verse 10. Okay, now let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. Okay. Being ready for war, you should be as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. you should be ready to defend this nation. There's been a spiritual war been going on for a minute now, and most of our people don't even understand a spiritual warfare that we've been fighting this war for you. We still continue to fight these wars because we go in the highways and the byways. We go to the street. We prophesy on the street corners because Christ didn't stay up in a temple. Christ went to the highways and byways. Even in the book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah stood before the gate in the front. He stood right there in the street, and he opened the book of law. He opened this. He opened the book of the law, and he read from the law, and the people were attentive. Understand? We go out there and fight that spiritual warfare every camp you see us in almost every video that we have. Understand? That's what we do, because we have to defend this nation spiritually first. This spiritual warfare that we do, that's why you hear us hollering. You know, you hollering at us, you doing it. Yeah, we're hollering because we're fighting those demons out there that unbeknownst to you, we're fighting those demons because unrighteousness and evil is so thick. Lord said that one of the prophets said, you know, I'm paraphrasing, that the sins have gone up to heaven. The very sins of this earth have reached heaven, where the Most High lives. That's how thick the sin is and the evil is in this world and in this earth. You damn right, it's a spiritual war right now, which could go carnal at any moment, at any time. It could go to hand-to-hand combat, fighting in the streets, understand, shooting, you know, people getting mugged, all types of things are getting ready. And it's getting ready to come down because what? They're already deporting our Latino brothers. They're deporting our ISIS is running rampant. They already, what do you think is going to happen to blacks? We already know deep down inside. Some of us say it, most of us know that we next. We're always, see, that's how you know we're the children of Israel. We're always getting persecuted. So yes, we're in the spiritual warfare. That's why we out there. We shout, please come up in this school. Come up and learn your culture, learn your language, learn what Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai means, which is peace, the Most High in Christ, blessings to you. Understand that. Understand what it means. Understand? Because this is Hebrew. Even when you have a Hebrew prayer, it's heard more effectively in heaven when you speak in Hebrew. In your prayers. It means something. Not this bastard language, English, or any other language. But that's what the prophets wrote. The Bible was written in Hebrew. It was written in Koine Greek. It was written in Latin. And then it was written in English. It was translated about 3 to 4 times. Okay? So understand this warfare is very deep. This is very critical at this time for our people. Okay? Did we read everything there?
Yes, we don't have a cook too, sir.
Oh, let's get Habakkuk 2 and 12. Go down to verse 12.
It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
What does woe mean? Read that again.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
What does woe mean? You had your hand up. Go ahead.
Destruction.
This means what?
Destruction.
Get that man a hand. That's right. It means, woe means destruction. Destruction, what's another word for destruction? When you destroy something, what is another word for that? What are you doing? You are, go ahead.
Tearing it down.
You're tearing it down, right? But there's a word for it. What does it mean? Woe. What does another word for woe mean besides destruction? You're right, for destruction. But what else does it mean? According to this Bible. Okay, I'm going to give it to you. It means war. Woe means war. War, destruction. Just like it says, woe to the pastors. We're going against the pastors. So we're going at war against the pastors. We're going, and it says, woe. in this scripture. Read that one more time.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
Okay, destruction and war to him that builds a town with what?
Blood.
With what?
Blood.
Blood. Build a town with blood. You building a town with blood. You understand? So, what nation built a town with blood? Built cities with blood? Anybody know? Go ahead.
United States.
There you go. Get that man one more hand. Very good. It says, woe unto him. America was built on blood. Blood. Blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors, of your ancestors, if you Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. Understand? This town and these cities and this country was built on blood. You had the Civil War. You had the Revolutionary War. You had World War I, World War II, World War III. You understand? You had what? Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam. And all the time, America is getting what? Bigger, more powerful, richer off your back. And you still got a job at minimum wage. Okay? I remember, shoot, I'm going to give my age away. I remember minimum wage was $3.35. Wow. I know, because I worked it. You understand? In New York. All right. $3.35 an hour was minimum wage. They're always fighting for higher wages. This town was built by blood. The Native Indians, so-called, whose tribe? By the way, the Native Indians are the Israelites. Who's the tribe of the Native Indians? The Native Indians, what's the name of that tribe in Hebrew? So-called Native Indian people are the tribe of Gad. Gad built the high skyscrapers. When you see skyscrapers in New York, the Indians up there, because they're not afraid of heights. They had them built those big steel pillars and beams. What happened with them? Their reservations was taken away. Was it nice and friendly? Did our oppressor go up to the Native Indian and say, I want your land? Geronimo, can you give me your land? Can you give me your land, Cochise? Can I get your land? What's another Indian name? Indian chief? Sitting Bull? Can I have your land? Hell no. They said hell no, especially Geronimo. Y'all know the story. He went to war and they still took it. They still put him in reservations. They took everything. They basically almost virtually wiped out the so-called Native Indians, our brothers and sisters. They almost wiped us out, the so-called Black and Hispanic. You understand? It says, woe unto him. Read it one more time.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
That's right. Woe unto him that buildeth a town with blood. You built this town in America off the backs of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You went to war with the Native Indians. Okay? They even went to war with the French. It was the French and Indian War. You understand? They went to war with Geronimo, Sitting Bull. They went to war in Mexico when they had the Alamo. At the Alamo, they were protecting us. The Mexicans had us. They let us as runaway slaves run into Mexico, running from this oppressor. And they tried to come in. They said, no, you better get away. We're gonna be cool with our so-called Negroes. Okay? And then they went to war at the Alamo. That's what happened at the Alamo. Understand, we always had a connection. See, the Most High cursed us and we forgot our culture. We walked away from the holy mountain. Our ancestors walked away from the holy mountain. I believe it was Mount Zion. All right. And we turned unto all these other nations, started practicing that Namyo Renke, that Islam. We thought we were Arab people. We did 5%ers up in New York. You know, I remember when my whole school turned to 5%ers. My brother turned into a 5%er. I never did. You understand? And thought we were Arabs, did the supreme alphabet, mathematics, and this, and Malcolm X was real high and tough and all of this. Got an imam and all that? No. You're an Israelite if you Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You're not no Arab.
That's right.
You are not an Arab. If you're an Arab, you actually taking less of what the Most High had intended for us to have, because their father is Ishmael. Ishmael. That's who the Arabic's father is. That was Abraham's second wife, Hagar. He took Sarah. Sarah was the mother of Isaac. Isaac is our forefather. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We come from a holy bloodline, a true pedigree, just as ISUPK is a true pedigree of warrior priests. Because we're prepared to go to war. Understand? When we go to camp, we risk our lives, and y'all don't even know it. Y'all don't even know that we're risking our life out there. We're giving up our Fridays and going away from our family, standing up on that podium, letting the people spit at us, letting the people throw at us, sometimes physically having to physically fight to defend this truth. No, we don't go out intentionally to hurt no one. We don't have no dead bodies. We don't have no bodies like the Ku Klux Klan. How many bodies the Ku Klux Klan had? Woo, thousands, right? They go to war with us. Understand? They got bodies, we don't, because we're not required. The Most High said, don't do that yet. Do a spiritual war, because you need to hear this truth. You need to know what tribe you're from. You need to know if you're a Negro, you come from the tribe of Judah, which is Yahweh in the Hebrew. You need to know if you're Native Indian, you come from the tribe of Gad, which is pronounced God in Hebrew. If you're Mexican, you need to know you come from the tribe of Issachar, which is pronounced Yashakar in the Hebrew. You need to know if you're Dominican. If in the Dominican Republic, you are from the tribe of Simeon in the English and Shimewan in the Hebrew. Okay? You need to know who you are. If you're a Cuban, you're from the tribe of Manasseh in the Hebrew. You need to know these things. If you're a West Indian, you're from the tribe of Benjamin, which is Benyamin in the Hebrew. You need to know these things, man. And so we're out there defending, going to war, spiritual warfare for your sakes, for the sake of Israel, Yashra Allah in the Hebrew. Israel, understand? That's what it is. Okay, shalom. I see you, Trooper Shakat. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shai Barakatah. I see you, Sister Olivia Arnold. Yahweh Shemala Thaba Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, and I shall hear you, Shalom, Most High in Christ, sister. Okay, so we need to understand this. For our people, it's about bringing you back to the laws, statutes, and commandments that you got away from. Get you off of that weed that you smoking. You understand? That weed is making you a weak man, right, or a weak woman. You're weak. Smoking weed, you think everybody looking at you. You're paranoid as hell. You're hungry as hell. You're eating. You ain't ready to fight. You eating too much. You're getting obese and fat. And I found out that just recently they were speaking about these scientists and everything that were studying the effects of marijuana and weed. You're basically setting yourself up for a heart attack, a quicker heart attack than you think. All the stuff that they put in there, it's no wonder, you know. I used to be a counselor. They used to have raid. I used to counsel teenagers. And the teenagers, I told them, they put raid in your weed. They're putting raid, you know, that you kill roaches with. And then I bring a raid can in and I had them read the ingredients. Read the ingredients of raid next time you get a chance if you want to. But anyway, that's what we're doing. Okay, so any more on that?
Yeah.
Continue.
Establishing a city by iniquity.
And establish. So first of all, you build it for town with blood, but you go to war with everybody. You know, when has the so-called oppressor went to any other nation and made peace and started building with them without saying that they should join them? Just peace. I just want to bring peace to you. I don't want you to join me. I want you to stay independent. I don't want to fight you. I put down the sword. Let's be friends and just be cool with that. Whatever you do is what you do. I just want to be cool with you. Did America ever do that?
Wow.
Must be nice. Would be nice, but it never happened. All right. It never did happen. It never will happen. Understand? They came with blood. So it established the city with iniquity. What is iniquity? We're in Habakkuk chapter 12 verse 2. What is iniquity? Anybody know? Go ahead.
Sin?
Exactly what it is. It's sin. You established it with sin. So America is a great supporter of the LGBTQZYXZ movement. FB alphabetical Z whatever T movement. Okay, they want to see transgenders in competing with women who are weaker than them. They're actually a man who changed his gender. They want to see that. Obama, you can thank Obama for that, and any other presidents that supported that. So they built up a town on iniquity. But the Lord said mankind should not sleep with mankind. You're not supposed to sleep with no man as if he was a woman. I don't see what the hell they find in that. A woman is so beautiful. How can you, what can you see? What? So that's why the Lord sent thunderbolts and lightning bolts to Sodom and Gomorrah and destroyed it. Thus, America will be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. And let's go to it. Let me get Zechariah 14, the book of Zechariah 14 and verse 12. Book of Zechariah 14 and 12. See, this country was built on all the wrong things. Everything that's wrong. You broke all the peace treaties. You went to war with the so-called Native Indians. All right. There were many wars that they had. That's why they had the Trail of Tears. They had all them walk, all the nations, the so-called Native Indian nations walked this whole Trail of Tears. And this on your $20 bill, there was a president named Thomas Jefferson. The little children that were the Gadite children, the Native Indian children were crying, the little babies, because they would take it out. You know, you got little babies and you walk them on this long trail because you don't give a damn. All right. He used to take them by the feet and smash their heads up against the trees. All the loud babies, he smashed their heads against the trees. He dashed the little ones against the trees and break their skulls so that they would die. That's what your oppressor thinks about you. Understand? We're going to go more into that part, but that's the warfare that they did. Okay. They wanted to, exterminate our people. They still want to exterminate us. They still deporting, right? You know, look at what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. Israel is part of the United States, right? The Israelis. See, they can't even be called Israel. They got to be called Israelis because they know they're not God's people. But they turn around and go to war with Gaza. All right. So being as they're at war with Gaza, they're exterminating them. It's like genocide. You know, it's already damn near genocide now. Stopping the trucks to supply food trucks. What's going to stop a food truck? The person stopped it. The person that's stopping it to keep them from eating, to keep them from good hygiene and anything else, and clothing themselves and housing themselves. Read.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
For all the people that fought against Jerusalem. In other words, this shall be a plague. This is going to be a plague to you who's responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. So that's every oppressor, man, woman, and child. Their ancestors are responsible. So they get the plague. And any other nation, which were a lot of nations, you had the Arabs help them sell us into slavery. You had already had the oppressor killing our Native Indians. You had in the conquest, what was it? Cortez. Was it Cortez? It was Cortez and the Spaniards went in and took all the gold and killed and slaughtered them and told them, our Latino brothers told them, he went in and these people are so good and they're like godly people. They're nice people. They got all this gold. Let's go in there and take them over. They told them the very night that they came there, the very day that they came there, our people made a big feast. Our so-called Latin and Hispanic people made a big feast and gave it to, I believe it was Cortez. Gave it to Cortez. Okay. Cortez turns around and told him, said, don't even move. Don't trip. My men are already surrounded your people. We're going to kill all of y'all. So give it up. The jig is up. Give it up. And slaughtered our Hispanic people. That's war. Understand? That's building a city with blood. That's oppression of our people. Understand? So this shall be the plague. It's going to be a plague over war. Read.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
And you had more fighting Jerusalem. Understand? You had the so-called African. What is the father of the Africans? What's his name? Do you know?
Ham.
Get that man ahead again. Ham was the father, is the father of the Africans. If you black and you in this nation and you have lineage in the slave trade and you have ancestors that came from the Atlantic slave trade and you're not with the how did General Yohana used to say it, the Mtetbu tribe of Africa, Ugandan tribe, you're not eating monkey piss and drinking cow's dung, eating cow's dung and putting plates in your lips and cutting your skin and cutting little designs like tattoos in your skin. You are Israelite. Because brothers ain't doing that. Anybody in your family do that? You a Judite like me. Anybody in your family have plate lips, put a big old plate, stretch their lip out, and put it over the plate? Damn. Anybody in your family put rings around their neck so that their neck could grow real long? All right. Well, that means that you follow the Most High. Understand that you actually come from the tribes of Israel. Okay. So Ham is the father of the Africans. They sold us into slavery because what happened in a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, the Romans were at war with the Israelites in Jerusalem, another war. And they fled out of Jerusalem because the Romans were winning. And they fled into Africa. They had two ways to go. These are Israelites, the ancient Israelites, because there's the man called Rudolph Windsor who wrote the book From Babylon to Timbuktu, has a PhD in Hebraic studies. He said that they fled into Africa, particularly West Africa. Where did the slave trade happen? West Africa. The transatlantic slave trade came from West Africa to America across the Atlantic Ocean. We were immigrants in Africa, just like the Hispanic man is here. We were migrants from the holy city, our holy city, Jerusalem. We came here when King Titus and Vespasian went to war and sacked Jerusalem for the last time. We fled into Africa. Rudolph Windsor writes, it was 1 million black Jews that fled into Africa. We wasn't from Ghana. We wasn't from Nigeria. We wasn't from Kenya. We were from Jerusalem. Understand? So when we fled, it was 1 million black Jews. And it said, and as he writes, the slave trade was a bumper crop. What's a bumper crop? When you grow corn and you got a big field of corn and that corn gets ripe and then you filling all your trucks, you find out you got 30 trucks that are filled and you need 30 more, and you only anticipated 30, that's a bumper. A bumper means you got overstocked. It was overstocked with slaves in Africa. Overstocked with slaves on them slave ships. 1 million black slaves came here and landed in these ghettos, in these barrios. Understand? And so all the nations that went to war against God's holy people who he chose to be the most high, to be his people, understand? All of them will receive the plague of war. And let's read what that plague of war is. Go ahead.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
Wow. Their flesh shall consume away while they're standing on their feet. Okay. There was a experiment in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. In Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they had an H-bomb. They unloaded the H-bomb on them. You remember that, brother? You're almost as old as me. Remember? I hate to say it. You remember that, right? It was an experimental atomic bomb, one of the first atomic bombs that were detonated. They detonated in Japan. America did that. That's the city that built the town on the blood. See how it's all about blood and war? And it says that the flesh, read it.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
There was a commercial that was out back when I was in, I don't know if you remember that commercial. I think I spoke about it last week. There was a commercial that showed these little Japanese girls running when they dropped that bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And while they were running on TV, they didn't show it real quickly. They showed it, and you could see the flesh falling off their legs. You could see the flesh falling off their feet. Okay, continue.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
Their eyes shall consume away in their holes. Understand? So the eyes will actually melt in the sockets. In their sockets, these eyes will melt. Those eyes will melt. Oh, Shalom, Arwan, Lahab, Yashikar, Shalom, Yahaba Shem Yashabarakta, sir. So their eyes will melt in the sockets. Okay, continue.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Their tongue shall melt and burn in their mouth. All right. These three characteristics that we just spoke of are the characteristics of thermonuclear destruction. Thermonuclear. What is thermonuclear destruction?
Atomic bomb.
There it is, an atomic bomb, a nuclear bomb. So the Bible has what has thermonuclear destruction described inside of it. The Bible has that. It talks about nuclear detonation, nuclear bombs being destroyed, being detonated, being cast upon the wicked. All of those that fought against Jerusalem. There's hardly any country that didn't take a hand in the slavery of the so-called Negroes. There's hardly any country that didn't have a hand in the slavery and the destruction of the Hispanic and Latino people. There's hardly any country that had a hand in the destruction and annihilation and the genocide of the so-called Native Indians. Okay, so this shall be your reward for what you've done to God's people.
Right.
All right. That's the nuclear destruction that's coming. But these countries are gearing up for it. They had what did they were talking about even right. General Yahada was even speaking about it. They're going to have a nuclear bomb in Africa. Africa's getting this stuff together. They're practicing nuclear. They're taking nuclear chemicals and everything and starting to build their arsenal up. They're starting to build their weapons up. And as General Yohana said, it's probably going to have a big old mud cap on top of the missile. You understand? Pointed at America or pointed at anybody else who goes against them. It's gonna go down. It's gonna be a big world war. This is the characteristics of World War III. Is any more on that?
That's it on that, sir.
All right, that's it on that. Exactly. So we have to look and read between the lines and understand what this Bible is talking about. Okay, let's understand what this Bible is talking about here. These nations have done us wrong. They have started war. They built cities by way of blood, as written in the book of Habakkuk. They have established iniquity and sins. They established these cities with sins, with LGBTQ, gender reassignments, body reassignments, going out and being predatory to the children, raping and molesting children in the Christian churches. Oh yeah, you established iniquity, you established sin. Okay, and for that you must pay.
Right.
You must pay. Understand? So this is the characteristic in the book of Zechariah 14 and 12, as we just read. Okay. So let me get Psalms 149 and verse 5. Let me get Psalms 149 and verse 5.
Got it, sir.
You got it?
Got it.
Read.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 149, verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds.
Mm-hmm. Read.
Verse 6. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand.
And a what?
A two-edged sword in their hand.
Let them be happy. Read that again.
Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Verse 6. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand.
All right. And a two-edged sword in their hand. What is a sword? What is the sword an instrument of? I kind of gave you. The sword is an instrument of what?
War.
Say it again.
War.
The sword is an instrument of war. Okay. And so they said, let the saints be happy, because we're going to be happy. When this time comes, we're going to be happy. On our beds with our two-edged sword, with our drink in our hand, Babylon has fallen.
That's right.
Babylon done fell. New York is gone. Oh, snap. All the merchants are going to be crying. All the oppressors, they're going to be crying. And it's going to be done within an hour. Within an hour, the whole city going to go up and melt in thermonuclear destruction. America's going to melt at 1,000 degrees. Believe that. Believe that. For the iniquity that they established. For all of the things you went through. You went through child support. You went through GR. You went through the crack epidemic. You went through getting your family separated at the slave trade. You went through not knowing who your great-great-grandfather is. You know who your great-great-grandfather is, brother?
Sir.
You know who your great-grandfather is?
Gone.
Okay. Then your great-great, you don't know, right? I don't know my great-great. I never met my grandfather. Neither one of them. You understand? Because that bastard took us into slavery and separated our families. And we practiced that. They had an experiment with these fleas. They put these fleas in a jar. These fleas put in a jar is just like trauma. They were studying trauma. Trauma. Like war produces trauma. You got PTSD. You know, you got the war syndromes and all that. Okay, you got what they used to call them shell shock. Back in World War II, they called them shell shock. Because as soon as they hear a loud noise, they go to the prone position, which means they fall on the ground and straighten out. I know. After the military. And they think that another bomb is coming because war is still in their hearts and in their heads. So they traumatize these fleas and put them in a jar. So the fleas could only fly up to this part because, you know, a jar got a neck to it, right? There were certain fleas that would go to that part of the neck, that part of the neck, that part of the jar, that part of the jar. So they took the jar away and left the fleas there and looked at how they flew. The fleas stayed in the same formation of the jar, which means that they were going through the same trauma that it went through when it went inside those jars. That's what happened to us. That's why we got to keep shooting each other. That's why we can't even be in the same household no more. Grandfather's son, you know, great-grandfather, grandfather's son, daughter. We can't live together anymore for the black community, for the black tribe of Judah, because of trauma, because we were traumatized that bad. You understand? Stockholm syndrome. You sit with a kidnapper, he takes you and he stops, he damn near starve you to death, but one day he give you a half a Happy Meal. You eat that Happy Meal and then he give it to you, you know, once a day or once a week. And then after a while, you like, damn, this is like steak. This is steak and potatoes. And then he must love me because he gave me this steak. Because he wasn't giving you nothing from before. So you're used to being kidnapped. We're used to being kidnapped. We're used to being molested. Used to being destroyed. Used to being beaten down, beaten up. They used to take what? The buck slave and tie his arms and limbs to full horses and pull them apart. Tie them to full horses and pull them apart. That's how they would break a buck, a strong black man, a strong Israelite. So everybody else on the plantation had to see that. That's why the mothers used to take the kids and be so fearful because they took the man out of the house. Look at the welfare systems. Take the man out the house and we'll pay you. That's trauma. That traumatizes the kid. That traumatizes the wife. Whereas they bow down to our oppressor. That's why you can't even get like a so-called black woman. You can't get her to obey her man. But when she go to work, the boss say, go get those 500 pages and bring them up here. And I want you to scan them, all of them, by 12 noon before you go to lunch. Yes, sir. You go to the doctor. The doctor says, I want you to take these pills for a month, 2 pills a day, before you eat and after you eat. Okay. Then her husband comes up and says, baby, I want you to, don't talk to the neighbors over here because I know something about them. They tripping. What you telling me? You ain't my daddy. I talk to who the hell I want to talk to. The blah, blah, blah. And you can't get her to do anything for her husband. The one man that truly loves her. Trauma. Trauma. So when they broke the slave, they broke the female slave as well. This is all forms of warfare. You got the Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch papers. Set the man against the woman. Set the light skin against the dark skin. Set the young against the old. Set the house nigga against the field Negro. Okay? Oh, it's so called. All to separate us. All forms of warfare. The sword is an instrument of war. Okay? Is there any more on that?
3 more verses to the chapter.
Read it again from the top.
Psalms 149, verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Verse 6. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth and a 2-edged sword in their hand. Verse 7. To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. Verse 8. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Verse 9, to execute upon them judgment written.
All right, so their kings and their people will be in, their kings will be in fetters and chains. That's what's going to happen to those who went to war against us. That's what's going to happen to them. All right. Shalom, sister Ayla. Shalom, Yahweh Shema Thabah Shem Shah. So These are the things that's going to happen to their kings. They're going to put them in chains. Okay. Give me Revelation 13:9. Book of Revelation, chapter 13 and 9.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
He that leadeth into captivity. Who led us into captivity? What's another name for captivity?
Slavery.
Another name for captivity is slavery. So he who leads into slavery, continue,
shall go into captivity.
Well, isn't that right? The soul shall go into captivity. Isn't that just? That's just. Isn't that righteous? What you did to me needs to be done to you.
That's right.
You felt good that it should happen to me. Well, I think good and that it should happen to you.
That's right.
That's righteousness. That's judgment. Understand? And that's what the Lord does. You did it to him, well, let it be done to you. Be it good or bad. In this case, it's bad. Real bad. We talk about slavery. Read it again.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Okay, so he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Understand that. You know, Most High is not joking. We just read that the Lord is a man of war. We just read that he's a man of war. Let's go back to Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3. Let's go back to that. Let's go back over there.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name.
The Lord is a man of war. The Lord will fight for you. The Lord fought for Israel when Israel was following the laws, statutes, and commandments. But when Israel stopped following the laws, statutes, and commandments, the Most High punished us, as written in the book of Deuteronomy. Continue.
Revelations?
No, Exodus.
The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Verse 4. Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts he hath cast into the sea.
Who did he cast into what?
Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts he cast into the sea.
So look at here. Our ancient ancestors were slaves in Egypt. We were building the treasure houses and pyramids for those pharaohs. Moses came in, Mashah in the Hebrew, came in, told the pharaoh to let my people go, just like the movie. Except it wasn't no white man, Charlton Heston crap. Because Moses is a black man, of course. He's a Levite, which means he's a Haitian man. He was a Haitian. Okay? The tribe of lawyer in the Hebrew. Okay? So he said, let my people go. After a while, the Lord sent plagues to Egypt. How many plagues was in Egypt? How many plagues did the Lord send to the African Egyptians? Because Egypt is Africa. Those was Ham's kids. How many plagues?
7.
Close. I'll say around 10. 10 plagues. It took 10 plagues until the last plague was the Lord killed all the firstborn in Egypt. All the firstborn men and women that were born. And the firstborn cattle. And the firstborn insects. He killed all of that.
That's right.
That's when there was a great mourning in Egypt. They was crying like hell. Pharaoh's firstborn was killed. The Lord sent the death angel to them. That's why we observe Passover. Get a Lord ahead. That's why we observe Passover. Because we had to put lamb's blood on the lintels of the doors in order for the death angel to pass over our dwelling places where we lived and go straight to the Egyptians and kill their firstborn. That's the plague, the last plague. So when we left Israel, right? We left Israel, the Pharaoh was like, I let him go. Get the hell out of here. Y'all tripping, man. Y'all killed our firstborn. But after a while, he thought about it again. He said, go get him. How are we going to finish this place? What are we going to do? Just like America. Imagine if all the slaves, when we were building America, left in midway into building America. Don't you think the presidents would have came and bring us back to finish building America? Even though that didn't happen, but it happened there. That was Passover. Well, this is going to be the last Exodus. What happened to the Pharaoh?
Pharaoh's chariots and his host he cast into the sea.
See, this is an example of warfare. If God was so loving in your Christian church and he was so this and so that, and so, oh, I'm going to kiss you when I come down from heaven, and you such a good Christian. You ate all the pork chops in the kitchen. You had all the shrimp. Oh, wait, Easter, you was in my church. You think the Lord coming back like that? You think he's going to send Christ like that back here? Hell no. Christ's going to have a sword.
That's right.
Wish I had my sword with me, boy. I used to teach my class with the sword. Christ's going to have a sword in his hand.
That's right.
And he's going to cut your head off if you do not obey him. Understand that. Now, we spoke about these wars in the Bible, right? Let's go to Revelation 11 and 14. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14.
It's the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
The second woe has passed. What was the name that we said that it was? That woe means?
War.
Woe means war. Woe means destruction. So the second woe has passed. Well, if you really think about it, in history, didn't World War II end? Didn't Hitler surrender? Didn't the Japanese surrender during World War II? They gave it up. They did it I remember they did it on the ship. They told him, the Japanese emperor told him on the ship, the Japanese commander said, I give up. Hitler gave up. Mussolini, the Italian one, gave up. America won that war. The second woe is what?
The second woe is past.
The second woe is past. See, it's written in this Bible, man. The only way you're going to learn this is if you come into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under the commanding General Yohana out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York.
That's right.
And learn under the real priests and prophets of the Lord, the true men of God. There are wars in the Bible. Did it say anything about the first woe?
Awesome.
Okay, so there was a first woe in there. Are you sure?
It's not at verse 14.
Okay, it's not at 14. Go to 13.
Verse 13. Revelation chapter 11, verse 13. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and a tenth part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were frightened. Okay, let's go. Okay, for time's sake, okay, we know that there was a first woe. The second woe is past. Now, continue. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The third woe cometh quickly. So the third woe is what? Destruction a third time. World War III. Is it any other woes in that Bible? Any other words in that precept? All right. So there's 3 woes. 3 woes, because this says the second, so it had to be a first woe. See, how would they say common sense would tell you that it was a first woe. There had to be a first woe because this said the second woe. The first woe was World War I. It was the battle of the trenches. America was in the trenches. That was a trench war. They were bombing each other, you know, using what do you call those things again? Using hand grenades, using shit, my military background's kicking in. They're using bayonets. They're using bayonets in those trenches. They were hand-to-hand combat, throwing dirt and rocks at each other. They didn't give a damn.
All right. But the third woe cometh quickly. Quickly. Third World War III is going to come quick. It's coming quick. You ain't going to have time to go to the mall. You ain't going to have time to feed your kids. You ain't going to have time to dress and put your clothes on properly. Because it's going to happen when the hour that you think not, when Christ returns, the hour you think not, that's when it's going to happen. So be prepared. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself by coming in these classes. Because when the Most High is on your side, no one could be against you. No one. No one will stand before the Lord and be victorious. None. Man is not mighty in the eyes of the Most High. The Lord is not a respecter of persons, as Paul, the Apostle Paul said that, right? Okay. So the third woe cometh quickly, doesn't it? Let's go and understand the Most High is a man of war because he took the Pharaoh, and what did he do with the Pharaoh?
Cast them into the sea.
Cast them into the Red Sea. But before he cast them into the sea, Moses parted that sea by the power of the Most High. He parted that sea and had Israel, the Hebrews, go through and cross the Red Sea. He parted the Lord parted the waters for us. We fleeing from Egypt because America is modern day Egypt. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
That's right.
America is modern day Sodom and Gomorrah as well. Your LGBTQTZYX exclamation point and hyphen. All right. America is ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon. The word, what does Babylon mean? You know what Babylon means? Babylon, when you look at the word Babel, Babel means confusion. What was happening during the time of Nimrod? In that story in the Bible where they were building the Tower of Babylon, everybody had one language. They all were speaking the same language. So when they all spoke the same language, they were able to build this giant tower toward heaven. And the Most High said, if I don't stop them, it's nothing they won't be able to accomplish. So he confused the languages. This is under the King Nimrod, who was another African. He was from the land of Cush, I believe. And Cush is Ethiopia. You understand? And the Lord said, oh, no, y'all not going to be speaking the same language. So he confused them. So they didn't even know what the hell each other was talking about. So they had to stop building the Tower of Babylon. America is Babylon. Don't believe me? Everybody's confused. They confuse your sex. Are you male or female? Little 4-year-old boy. Oh, you want to be a girl? You're a girl. Give him a dress. Oh, you want to be a boy? Give him some boxers. You understand? Confusion. They don't know. That is confusion. They sleep with it's known, our oppressor is known as a savage, unclean, filthy bastard. Understand? He would lay with an animal like he would lay with a woman. They were having sex with animals. It's called bestiality. The terminology was bestiality. You know, back in my time, they had a movie called Caligula. And in Caligula, they were showing all that type of immoral things that they were doing in ancient Rome. Because America's like that. Rome, you know, that's the oppressor's bloodline. It's Esau. That's their father. Esau is their father. The Dukes. You read it in the Old Testament. They were sleeping with animals. That's confusing. So America is three things: Egypt, Babylon, and what did I say? Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, that's what America is. That's why America ought to be Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. You know, you come from our school. We just did what? Hebrew Academy. We were singing that, right? Babylon, that is the song. Babylon fall, fall, Babylon fall. Babylon, who ought to be destroyed because it hath destroyed us. It led us into captivity. It molested us. So we have to be at war with it. So when you see us in camp and we're hollering and doing all of what we're hollering about, We're fighting a spiritual war. We are fighting demons out there. That's why we're yelling. That's why we're yelling for our people to come in. We're fighting demons out there because the demons are persuading you to kill yourself, persuading you to be part of the LGBTQ, persuading you to shoot your brother, to have sex with your brother's wife, persuading you to do these things. It's a spiritual warfare out there that can go carnal, which means it can go physical at any time. That's why we dress in our warlike apparel. That's why we have the war belt like Christ had. Christ had a garment with girt about the path, was around his waist. He had a war belt, a golden girdle. That's what our King Yahushua had on. And that's probably what he's going to have on when he returns.
That's right.
But he's going to have another thing, a big giant sword in his hand.
That's right.
And his eyes are going to be red as scarlet. His eyes will be red as scarlet. And he will come back angry and will cut heads off, destroy nations, strongholds with 1,000, 1,000,000 black angels. NISUPK, each officer, from the trooper to the general, we will be out there being commanded by our King Christ in a war of the third woe. The third woe, because when World War III break and jump off, the nations are going to be fighting each other. They're going to be fighting each other. They're going to be getting down. They're going to be bombing each other. They had all these, I was looking on the cell phone, they had all these, they were saying, what's the best fighter jets? America, Russia, and China. They had the best fighter jets that they could go straight like this in the air. Straight like this on land, just hovering straight up and down like that. And then go out and shoot and be gone. And shoot off whatever they're going to shoot off. And flip, roll, whatever they do. Well, while they're fighting each other and doing what they're doing, they're going to see Christ coming back. Christ going to be coming back in a chariot with these million black angels. Black angels. Understand? And they're going to turn around and say, we got to fight Christ. Let's get him. Let's get him. And they're going to get to it. And that's going to be the final war. You understand? They're going to stop fighting each other, but they know that Christ is coming back. The nations and kings of this earth know that Christ is coming back to usurp their rulership, their dominance, their ways of telling you what to do, making you go to work, making you earn minimum wage. Understand? Telling you to live in the ghetto, live in the hood, while they live in the suburbs. Understand? Well, they got these high rises while you over there scraping nickels and dimes together. The Lord is coming back to take that dominance because it's unrighteous. Understand? It's unrighteous. So it's going to be a war. Christ is coming back with a sword. Let's give Christ a hand. Our King. Understand that, man. It's going to be an end to this madness. It's going to be an end to this nonsense. It's going to be an end for you, black man, to be having to put your head down when your woman is yelling at you like she a man. See, we don't have that up in here, man. Imagine we had that up in here. Loudmouth black women, loudmouth Hispanic women, loudmouth Native Indian women in ISUP. Man, I would leave. I would leave this place. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm done. I can holler back. No, you ain't doing that up in here because it's called order in here. It's order. We follow order in here. That's why all our priests are numbered in here. You understand? We follow orders because the Lord said is him first, Christ second, man third, woman fourth, child fifth. That's the order. And that's the way it should be. And all women know that. They know they're supposed to be following, being submissive and all that. But yet, do we have it? Oh, hell no. Get out the house. Do this, do that. You ain't no man. You ain't. Man, one time I had to tell a woman, what the hell do you know what a man is supposed to be? What do you know what a man is supposed to be? Are you willing to get your head cut off? Are you willing to get stabbed and shot and beat down and bludgeoned to death to protect your family, to protect yourself? That's war. We prepared for it up in here.
That's right.
It's coming up in here. We know it's coming. This is not our rest. You understand? It ain't time to rest. It ain't time for you to sit back. You can't do that because you got a 9 to 5 anyway. You don't go to your 9 to 5, you're going to be that much or a day away from starvation and homelessness.
That's right.
Don't go to work. You in charge. You got that big mouth. Don't go to work. Go tell your boss to kick rocks. You understand? Go tell your boss to do something that you want him to do. Go tell your boss you ain't working. You're gonna take your lunch break for 2 hours instead of an hour. You're gonna take your lunch break for an hour instead of a half hour. Go tell your boss that. Tell your boss you want a raise now. Tell America that you want to go to Israel right now without a passport. See what that'll get you. These are rough and harsh times. We need to understand and stay prepared, man. You know, do what you can. Get food, water, flashlights, tents, firewood, a good knife, a good what do you call it? A good multi-tool with a knife in it, of course. Get you some waterproof matches. Get you a water purifier. Understand? Because even though there's no way that you can actually prepare for it, but you better be prepared somewhat because the lights are going out. The power is going to be shut off. They're going to start raiding the grocery stores, the 7-Elevens, the Vons, the Stater Brothers. They're going to be emptied out. Where you going to be at? The looters and rioters going to be in the street. Ain't going to be no gas. What you going to do then? You better be following General Yahan. You better be up in these classes, and you better take this seriously. You better be following these laws, statutes, and commandments. Because Christ ain't going to have no mercy on you. He going to say, I never knew you. I never knew you. Who are you? I never knew who you was. You know, you ran around listening to Creflo Dollar. You listened to the Jennings. You listened to TD Jakes. You wearing those pimp suits. You sitting around eyeing every woman that's walking with a man, and you know good and damn well that's her husband. You over there seeking to molest your kids. You molesting children. You raping women. You're lying. You're stealing. You're worshiping false gods. You understand? You're eating unclean things. Christ gonna say, I never knew you. Never knew you. You have mercy. War, man. It's that time. All right. So let me get let's get back to the scriptures. Let me get Lamentations 4:18. Oh wait, let me get 1 Samuel. Let me get 1 Samuel 8 and verse 12. 1 Samuel 8 and verse 12. No, ain't gonna be nothing nice out here, man. I feel so sorry with women with children. Gonna be women running in the streets with children. They're gonna be people beating each other up. Gas, ain't gonna be no gas. Where the gas? We gonna get gas at? You know, you might see the gas stations exploding. You never know what's gonna go down. The Lord gonna send these plagues because of the things that you have done. Because you fought against Israel. And if you're an Israelite, you joined the oppressor and you persecuted your brothers and sisters. See, you're not like them. You acted just like our persecutor. Our oppressor looks down on you if you don't got no money. You don't got no money, you damn near don't deserve to live. You can't afford. What's the saying? You can't afford it. You can't afford it. What, that makes me less of a human being because I can't afford it? What the hell makes you even worthy of it? You know why? Because you built the city with blood. You destroyed our people. You lied. You cheated. Okay? You could get precepts too, right? Let me get John 8:44 and read what you got.
It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 8, verse 12. And he will appoint him captains over thousands.
He will appoint who?
Captains over thousands.
Continue.
And captains over 50s.
Continue.
And will set them to ear his ground.
He set captains over 1,000, right? Read it from the top again.
Book of 1 Samuel, chapter 8, verse 12. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50s.
All right. So captains over thousands and captains over 50s. What is that saying? These are men of rank and order. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to have rank and order. Everything is supposed to be done decently. And that's what's done in the ISUPK. We do these things decently and in order. That's why we have numbers next to our rank. You understand? Because it's in the Bible. The Most High did that. The Most High wanted that to be done. How else are you going to have order? We already said America is confusion. So there's no rank in America like that unless you go into the military. And that's still damn confusing. You know, because you still got your oppressor over you. You understand? You still got separation. They used to say, when I was in the Corps, Marines, they would talk about my light greens and my dark greens. We're not green. What the hell? My blacks and my whites. You might as well have said that. But that's what we knew who you was talking about. How come my dark greens think when they try to swim and my light greens can swim? We were going through our qualifying to get our swimming certificates or whatever the hell it was. I forget what it was. But we had to swim in our camouflage to tread water for 12 minutes or something. Anyway, you understand that it's a separation. Okay. Shalom, Lord Christ. Come on. I'll call you back. All right then. Come on. All right then. Shalom, Lord Christ. All right. So you got officers. You understand, a lot of racism in the military. A whole lot of racism. I can tell they hated me. I learned in South Carolina, the home of the Marines. Parasite. Yeah. All right. So we do things with rank and order. That's what we do. And when we do it with rank and order, then you know that the outcome is going to be, how would you say it? The outcome will be correct. I just put it that way. It'll be right. The outcome will be glorious because then you know what you're doing. You know which way you're going. You know what you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to do this. Okay? That's be doing things decently and in order. That's why you have officers in here. Go ahead.
First Samuel, sir.
You finished with First Samuel? Go ahead.
And he will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots.
And to make his what?
Instruments of war.
To make his instruments of war. Okay? That's what the officers do. Make instruments of war. We teach you this Bible because this Bible is the name that we call it a sword. This Bible is a sword. The truth is a two-edged sword. That's what the truth is, a two-edged sword.
That's right.
Comes out of our mouth like our king. Okay? We teach, it's called truth. Righteousness. Read.
This is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 12.
44.
It's the book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do.
You of your father, the devil. Our oppressor is of his father, the devil, Esau, the devil. Okay? The devil in here is not no winged creature. Understand? The winged spiritual creature that you're thinking about is Shaitan in the Hebrew, Satan. You're thinking about Satan. All right? That's a spirit. That is a spirit being. We're talking about a devil, a man, the oppressor. Read it again.
Ye are of your father, the devil.
This was Christ speaking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. You understand? This is who our oppressor is. He's speaking to our oppressor as well. Go ahead.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
You're going to do what your father's going to do. Every son does. You know, you turn out and say, I ain't never going to be like my parents, but you act just like it. When you get older, you act just like, I remember I said the same damn thing. It didn't work. You're going to do what your father has done. You're going to be like your father, no matter how you whether you want to or not. So the lust of your father, you will do. This is what Yahweh Shai was saying. This is what Christ was saying. Continue.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
Oh, no, he was a peacemaker. He was what?
He was a murderer from the beginning.
No, he came back and gave you a high five and gave you a raise. He was a what?
He was a murderer from the beginning.
A murderer from the beginning. He unalived you. He unalived people. He built a city with blood. So he unalived them. Understand? He made these tools of this weapons of destruction, the nuclear bomb, the H bomb, the atomic bomb, all these things, splitting atoms and causing the earth to shake, destroying towns, destroying the water, the plants, the animals. Our oppressor is the virus of this earth, man.
That's right.
He's a virus of this earth. You understand? And he needs never to rule again. And the Lord will never let him rule again. The Most High will never let our oppressor rule over anyone ever again. For the things that he's done, you got to check. Everybody's getting cancer. Everybody's getting heart attacks. Everybody's getting diabetes. Everybody's getting high blood pressure and everything of the sort. Because of his lustful ways, his murderous ways. You understand? His unrighteous ways, his evil ways. Read.
And abode not in the truth.
What does abode mean? Okay. You get the you got the Merriam-Webster dictionary? On your phone? Okay, you know what? For time's sake, maybe I'll just look it up. If you good, try to get it. I'll see if I can get it as well. We want to know what abode means. He abode, right? Read that again.
And abode not in the truth.
And abode not in the truth. Okay. Let's see. So we got a lot of things that we are under, that we are subject to because of this oppressor. There's a lot of madness going on. And it is not your fault, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. You know, we already described what trauma is. You got it?
Got it.
Go ahead, read.
It's the definition of abode in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Abode means the place where someone lives.
A place where what?
Where someone lives.
A place where someone lives. Read the scripture.
And abode not in the truth.
So he didn't live in the truth. He abode not in the truth. To abide means to live. It's where you abide, where you live. He didn't live in the truth. Wouldn't you like to be told the truth instead of all these lies? Continue.
And abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him.
Because there's no truth in him. Okay? There's no truth in our oppressor. None. Okay? When he tell you things, you better double check. It's better to double check. I'm trying to find There's another one I want to look in the book of Psalms. I'm trying to find out right now. Let's try Psalms 12. I think it's Psalms 12. If I'm not mistaken. You know, our president don't never tell you the truth. You think Trump is going to tell you the truth? Anybody think Trump is going to tell you the truth? Anybody? You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wait. Go to Psalms 55. Psalms 55. I think it's 55 and 12. No, it's not 55. 12. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's go down to verse 21.
Psalm 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Wow. Smooth. Butter smooth, ain't it? Cook your steaks with that butter, boy. It's going to slide. Take anything and put butter on it. You can slide it anywhere, right? That's how his words were. Smooth as butter. Oh, yeah. I didn't sleep with that woman. That was who was that? That was Clinton, right? That was the president. The president of the United States. Clinton said, I did not sleep with that woman. I didn't sleep with her. Yet she was under the desk doing, you know what? Oral copulation. Doing orals. I did not sleep. You know, smoother than butter. Continue.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
But what?
War was in his heart.
War was in his heart. What is war? What's another? I mean, what is the heart? What is another definition of the heart?
The mind.
There you go. Exactly. The heart is the mind. War was in his mind. He was speaking smooth to you, but he was like, I'm going to cut your throat. I'm going to blow you up. I'm going to use a flamethrower and burn your whole house up, you and everybody up inside of it. They burned the churches, didn't they? They burned the churches in Montgomery, Alabama, didn't they?
God.
That's right. That was one of the churches. They burnt many churches, killed a 14-year-old girl in the churches. War was in his heart. War was in his mind. That's what that means. Continue with young man.
His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yet they were drawn swords. And we just said the sword is an instrument of war. Drawn swords. Damn. Our oppressor is a filthy, deceiving, wicked bastard. Continue with yours.
John 8, verse 10, right?
Just continue where you was at 44, verse 44. You're in chapter 8, right? All right.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, which means what? He's speaking for his family members. That's his own. When he speaks a lie, he speaks for the benefit of his people. When he lying to you. You understand? Continue.
For he is a liar and the father of it.
Wow. Read that again. That's heavy.
For he is a liar and the father of it.
So he's a liar. Not only is he a liar, not only does he tell white lies, he tells all kind of lies. They always say the white lie is that little lie. They always look white for everything cool. Maybe it's a black lie, it's a big lie, huh? Wow. So when he speaks of a lie, he speaks of his own to help his family. And not only is he a liar, but he's the father of lies. Damn, the master of lies. Check every politician. Man, I done seen decades of politicians, presidents, councilmen, councilwomen, all types of people in higher ranking offices of the government lie themselves off. Just lie, straight up lie. What did Nixon say? His famous line, I am not a crook. I am not a crook. Yet he was guilty of Watergate. He was guilty of Watergate. Go look it up, President Nixon. You remember that? He was taking files. Look what Trump doing. Look at what he say. He say one thing and do something different. They all are like that. That's why I never vote. I think I voted twice in my life, in my whole lifetime. Twice. Regretted both of those times, but never voted again. I know they were lying. The ghetto is still jacked up. They still got rats this big. They got carpet with roaches, wallpaper of roaches, bed bugs all over the place, lights all over the place, rats running down, mice running down. Dirty and filthy. They don't come to clean or pick the garbage up. The concrete sidewalks are cracked. Oh, I'm going to do good for America. Let's make America great again. Put y'all back in slavery. So they done took our Latin brothers out, right? Who's gonna pick those vegetables and apples and oranges? Maybe going back into slavery. That's why they built those prisons. They still have the chain gang. Am I correct? The chain gang is still busting those rocks, right? So when you in slavery, which means when you in prison these days, you are going to be working for your master again. So it's high time war reaches America. Babylon is going to fall. The Lord is going to take vengeance for his chosen ones. The chosen ones, the lost tribes of Israel. We are lost in this place. IHUBK ain't lost no more. But our people are lost. We're trying to bring you back again, bring you home. Go get your brother. We're going to get our brothers and sisters. We're going to feed them. And we're going to do food drives. We're going to have a food drive, what, tomorrow? Day after tomorrow? We're going to have a food drive. We've been having food drives. We never stopped our food drive. We're going to clothe you because we got food and clothes. Understand? We're going to do that because our filthy bastard oppressor will not do that. His words were smoother than butter. You still got that precept?
Come on, sir.
Read that one more time. We'll end with that.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yet were they drawn swords. Where you going to find peace in drawn swords? You're going to get cut to ribbons. You're going to get cut to death. You're going to get cut, filleted, and diced and sliced and diced. Drawn swords. Instruments of war. He's going to lie. He's going to lie to you every chance he gets to make you do what he wants you to do. You understand? All these things are going to happen to you if you do not come into the ISUPK. If you do not follow God's laws and statutes and commandments, you do not let us teach you how to follow them and when to observe his days, holy days, not holidays. You're going to learn how to go to war with your oppressor spiritually so that he can't have no word in edgewise when you know the truth. You tell him, get on with that. You go tell your people that. Go tell somebody who gives a damn about that, because I don't. You understand? Give me the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Give me the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. These things are critical. This is what's going to happen, man. These things are happening, man. You got Pakistan and India going at it. You got the Ukraine. They just had a giant drone strike. The Ukrainians, the drone strike the hell out of Russia. And Russia said that they're going to retaliate again. They've been fighting for a year now, a couple of years or something. The Israelis are starving and bombing Gaza back to the Stone Age. China's rearing up their nuclear power, and China has the biggest amount, the largest amount of foot soldiers on the face of the earth. China does. It's a known fact. Okay. Understanding all these other countries are getting in it because once Russia takes over, it's going to keep going all up in Europe and take all of Europe over, or at least go to war with it. Go ahead, do Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1.
It's the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together. O nation not desired.
There it is. There it is. Gather yourselves together. Shalom, Sister Kalaya. Shalom, Yahweh Shemala Thaba Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom, sis. Okay, we are to gather ourselves together. We're to get ourselves together. We're supposed to be gathering and getting ready for this third war, getting ready to go to war, being ready to defend our nation, defend ourselves against this oppressor who's not going to stop until he destroys all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians and the entire world at that. Understand? We're to gather ourselves together. Say it one more time.
Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together. O nation not desired.
O nation not desired. O nation that went through the Trail of Tears. O nation that went through the transatlantic slave trade. All nations that went through the Zook suit oppression and all of the conquering of South America. Gather yourselves together. Come get with us. Come deal with the real truth. Come down when we have our next holy day. Come down to all our holy days when we gather together. You understand? We need to stand firm with the Most High God, Yahweh, because there will be nothing left. Most High said, if time is not cut short, no flesh will be saved alive. No flesh. That means no one will be alive if they continue. If the Lord didn't cut this time, in the future, when they go to World War III, when everything goes down and them bombs start rolling and them people start going at it and them crowds start uprising, if they cut that time, if they don't cut that time, no flesh will be saved alive. So he who has an ear, let him hear. All right. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.